It is my honor, my privilege, honestly. We love that he's here with us in more than one sense of the word. My guest tonight is none other than Jerome Dabney, and that interview begins in 3, 2, and 1. Testing, mic check. I'll put the button on.
I'm excited.
I am too.
I'll have answers. I'm going to need answers.
Welcome to Public Access Live. I'm your host, jdabsstc. Our guest is none other than Jerome Dabney.
Hello, hello.
Multi-talented entertainer, survivor.
Survivor, yes.
Survivor.
Yes.
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 I want to ask you, though, because you are probably to date the most, probably is in your skill set, probably have learned your craft more than the rest of us. You've been doing it longer. You've been in more situations, had more opportunities to, you know. You've been to the big show. You've done Vegas.
Right.
Okay.
Vegas.
You've been on the coast. You've done all that.
Yes.
Let's start. How long had you been doing it before you had a comfortable 5?
As far as comedy.
Yeah.
Comedy comfortable 5. I would say probably about a year.
A year?
Yeah.
You had something
maybe,
that
maybe
anytime somebody was like, "Hey, can you be on?"
Can you do 5? Yeah.
You had it.
Yeah.
I got
yeah.
my set.
Got my set.
How long till you had your comfortable? I'm a feature. I got my 20.
About in the 5th year.
5th year.
Yeah, I would say the 5th year.
This is going somewhere, by the way.
Yeah, yeah. That's
how long till you had your headliner set? Your 45-minute headliner set.
In year 6.
Year 6.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because
this is the money question.
Okay. All right.
How long was it from the time you started till somebody could wake you up out of a dead sleep and you could do your 45-minute headlining set?
At year 6.
Year 6?
Yeah.
You had it down.
Yeah. You are preparing for headlining all along the way.
You knew. I mean, you weren't.
Right.
I don't want to just play bars. I want to do.
Right. You're not. Well, at least I hope you're not in the game to host or to feature. You're in the game to headline. So you have to be headline ready in case, because there is nothing worse, and I found this out in my first career, there's nothing worse than not being prepared for the moment when the moment arises.
So you believe opportunity is there every day. Are you ready to answer the door?
Only knocks once. It only knocks once. And when it knocks, if your answer is no, or if your answer is anything but let's do it.
Did you find in your first, like, say 3-4 years, you'd say a lot of yeses? You throw yes out there a lot, even.
Yes. Yes. That's right. Yes. That's it.
Hey, I had somebody drop out. I know you posted on Facebook that you're sick, man, but I need somebody to come down here. It's like, I'll be there.
That's it. I'll be there. I'll be there.
You want to be the guy that they call, so.
Gonna be time. Gonna be some time. Yes. Gonna be some time. Yes.
What was your first job?
For stand-up.
Well, I mean, you said your first job was preparing you for, what was your first job?
Oh, my first career.
Your first career. I'm sorry.
My first career was as a singer.
Yeah. Okay.
I entered into this industry as a singer, and I had an amazing singing career. Sang with a couple of groups. Did a lot of cruise ships. Worked in the cruise industry extensively. As a matter of fact, I worked so extensively in the cruise industry, I actually ended up administrating in the cruise industry, and I was a cruise director for about 3.5 years.
You think, because I mean, like Nice is gone.
Right.
Probably, I'm going to take a stab at probably 260 days out of the year.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, if you want to be an entertainer,
yes, you're on the road.
That's a good. Kevin Hart started out on ships, didn't he?
You know, I'm not sure.
I heard he was a cruise shipper.
I'm not sure. Maybe he did. Yeah, I'm not sure.
How does somebody break into that? Because everybody knows. Well, you know, I went out to California. I got on stage at the Comedy Store. You know, somebody saw me there. They brought me in on a podcast. Next thing you know, I'm writing for NBC. You know, I mean, there's all that. But how do you get into entertaining on board ships? How do you take that route?
Well, you know, it's changed. When I began in the cruise industry, it was all about the actual onboard entertainment package. That's what the cruising passenger looked forward to. You know, they always wanted to be entertained on board, and they wanted a variety of entertainment. You know, some singers, some comedians, some magicians. They wanted a variety of entertainment. And then, because their ports of call normally would offer some type of folkloric show that would actually come on board and perform for the guests, so they could look forward to it. For example, we had the first cruise line I worked for was American Hawaii Cruises, and every Wednesday evening we were in the port of Hilo on the Big Island, and there was a halau, which is a dance group, a Hawaiian dance group. Okay. And they would come on board and do a show for all the guests, and it was Hawaiian wear night, so you could get your Hawaiian gear on. And
do they work you pretty hard? I mean, are you doing like a nightly show, or are you doing like I mean, like how often?
It depends.
Like an afternoon?
Yeah. It depends.
Kind of.
It really depends. Most entertainment positions on board.
Does the ship ever go to sleep? Is there somebody playing a piano somewhere on that boat? No, all hours of the night?
No, it'll shut down.
Does it?
Yeah, it'll shut down.
Okay.
It'll shut down at night. I think the discos on board are the rooms that stay open the latest, probably till 4 or 5 o'clock, some of them. And they've done an incredible job with the placement of discos, because it used to be a 2 o'clock shutdown, 1:30, 2 o'clock shutdown, because of where they were located and cabins being nearby. And Princess, they came up with the greatest idea. They have these hanging discos that are up high above the ship at the back end, and nowhere near any cabin. So
did you try to get on as many different? You could see the most of the world that you could?
I did.
Did you have a favorite? A favorite trip that you took?
Yes.
Did you go back and do it over and over again? Like
no.
If they hired you to, you're like, hey, I remember I did that gig and that was pretty salty, because I love that part of the world. I mean, did you?
I didn't. There was one gig that I did that when I stopped administrating in the cruise industry, I went back to entertainment. And the reason why I stopped administrating was because I missed being an entertainer. I missed, singing on the ship.
Oh, so you were booking?
No.
What do you mean by administrating?
I was a cruise director. I was a cruise director.
Oh, I thought.
Right. So I'm doing administrative work. That's what I call it, because you have when you're a cruise director, you have a staff and.
So, is there like an agency that books acts on cruise ships?
Oh yes.
Or somebody that represented you that actually got your press kit or whatever to them?
Yeah, there was an agency in Florida called Musicana, and I joined that agency because I knew that they dealt with cruise lines, and my goal when I joined the agency was to get a job on a cruise ship. And as they say, the rest is history. My third ship that I did was when I started training to administrate on the ship, and then when I left, my next job in the cruise industry was as an assistant cruise director. And I moved from assistant to cruise director, and then I remained cruise director for the next 3.5 years. And I thought I was going to be able to combine singing and being a cruise director, but they were kind of moving away from that. At one time, it was very, very important for the cruise director to be an entertainer.
Oh, right. Kind of multifaceted.
Exactly.
And, you know, saves us the
well, it's one
the
of those
expense
deals.
of an extra, you know, if somebody does 2 jobs.
Well, it's one of those deals where getting entertainment to ships could be difficult, and sometimes you miss an entertainer because you missed that port of call.
Oh.
Because the waters are too bad, and you're weighing anchor and tendering folks, and there's no way to get the entertainer on board. So somebody on board has to offer some entertainment that evening.
There's no. We went to Galveston and they were loading up a Norwegian and I think a Princess.
Mm-hmm.
There's like these massive parking lots for people, and there were already people on the boat. I assumed they came to Galveston as like a second stop. There was already people on the boat. There was people loading on, and traffic was hectic on the harbor side of Galveston.
Right.
I've seen tankers. I've seen cargo ships. I've never seen anything just like. I'm gonna have to. My neck's gonna hurt if I sit in here and look at this boat any longer. Like it is.
They're massive.
Yeah.
They're getting larger and larger every day.
Hey, let's put Mall of America on the deck of one.
Well, you can. They were going to do that at one time. They had a project that was called Phoenix World City that they were going to do.
Disney has the big boats now, right?
No. Royal Caribbean has the biggest ships.
Do they?
Yes, they do. They're aircraft carriers, basically. It's 5,500 passengers.
I want to go to some of these questions.
Okay.
Mr. J Dab.
Yes.
This is actually good. I missed this. That's a good callback. Was your first 5 minutes still in your set in your 6th year when you did your headlining? Thank you so much.
2 lines.
You kept part of your 5 minutes?
2 lines.
All the way up to your headlining.
2 lines.
Was it your opener? Were you
Yeah.
just that proud of your opener?
Well, it was not so much the opener.
It's find just a good one, man. It's like he sticks with you forever.
It's the introduction. You know,
I hope every time I see Jay Kincaid for the rest of my life, I hear I'm Jay Kincaid and this is my peacock.
Right.
I hope I hear that.
Right.
That's Jay Kincaid's opener.
That's it.
You know?
That's it.
It takes forever to find a good one.
Hey now, how y'all doing tonight? I have said that for years.
There was one, of course. There was a comedian that put it on the audience. I don't remember who did it first, but they're like, "Don't worry, I haven't heard of you either."
That's
when they got up to the mic. But there was another comedian, a Canadian comedian in England. His name was Francis Stewart, and he put a spin on it. He's like, "Don't worry, I haven't heard of me either."
Right.
You know,
I
mean, you got it.
I love it.
Work on your openers, people. Anything. You know, Jay Kincaid. I'm Jay Kincaid, and this is me. This is my peacock. Is that funny? No, but when he says it, I realize he's about to shine.
Yes.
That's what a peacock does.
That's it. That's it.
Let's. Oh God.
Extra eyeballs.
Extra.
We need them. Unfortunately, I need them.
I really thought this made me feel old until that first one started driving.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second one, my youngest, went to prom this year. And then I'm like, I'm official, man. I've got 2 years till I'm 50. Guess what? I'm already practicing being cranky. I'm ready. When I turn 50, people will be like, "Man, he's cranky." I've been waiting years to actually feel in. By the time you're 50, they can't tell you not to be, right?
Well, it's one of those deals where if something's hurting because you yawned, that's not fair. Crankiness is built in.
Especially being having a sports background of any kind at all.
Exactly.
It's like you stretch so you don't get injured. No, I stretched and hurt myself today.
Exactly. That's exactly what happens.
What'd you do? I sat up in bed. I don't know what happened.
That's all I did.
Hello, Mr. Dabney. Have you ever been offered any film roles and ever refused any?
Never offered any film roles. I did spend part of the career to work in film. When I stopped working as a cruise director on the ship, I went back to entertaining, and I wanted to be a guest artist on the ship. And I met with the gentleman in London, as a matter of fact, and he said to me, he says, I'm looking at your resume, CV, I believe they refer to.
Yeah, the CV.
And the CV, and I don't have anything that I can book you on. You don't have anything that I can book you on. And he says, what? He says, what do you mean? He said, no tags. I don't have any tags that I can book you on. You know, and I said, okay, that's fine. So I said, let me go and build a career of tags. You know, get some credits on my CV, get some credits there.
Okay.
So I went to work in film, and the only job that I did not do, I was scheduled to be I got a call to be a senator in An American President with Michael Douglas and Annette Bening. And I didn't take that job because I had another offer for a singing job, and I had been working in film for the past 7 months, and I kind of decided I didn't like it. And I had some great work. I was listed with a great agency in Los Angeles and had some great work. Did a couple of feature films, Virtuosity with Denzel and Russell Crowe. And
if they like you, I mean, will they kind of work with you to get a part? I mean, like, well, let's be honest. My S's aren't perfect. I mean, I would need to work with someone.
Right.
Speech, like a speech coach or something. But do they provide that? Like, I really like this guy, but he's missing something. I mean,
no.
Nope.
No.
Like, we'll just find somebody more perfect than you.
You know, the entertainment business is very, very similar to almost every kind of business.
Sure it is.
You know,
my company's a little less superficial than the entertainment business. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, but
I'm pretty sure.
If you have somebody that you're going to move up, say you're going to move up in a company,
okay,
and they're going to send you through a training program that you really don't need.
Okay.
Right.
Right.
And it's like it's the same thing in the entertainment industry. They will send you to an acting class because of the person who is teaching the acting class. And when you come out of that acting class, someone sees that on your CV and they say, oh, they studied with John Tyler, so I'm going to hire him.
And that's pretty much how the whole Cusack family's made it all this time.
Thank you. So you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's
well, I mean, all those kids, their parents were acting coaches.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's the same in modeling. Who did your photos? It's the name that who did the photos that'll get you the modeling job. You know, it's amazing. It's the son of.
Thank you, Zero of T-Town, for joining in. Cuzwalt, thank you so much for rating. Everybody from Cuzwalt stream, welcome. JDab, what is your favorite guilty pleasure of food? Are we going to food porn already? Have we covered his life? You guys are like, all right, let's go for the food now.
The food porn.
The guy on the left. What? I don't even understand that. I'm not going to read that because I'm not. You did put a question mark at the end, so it's not technically a question.
What is? Remember,
Wait a minute. The guy on the left sets fire to the garden at a cookout with the sick beets he brings. You bringing beets?
Am I doing what?
Bringing beets.
Bringing beets. I have no idea.
Hey, Zeus all up in me. Thank you for being here. Who does he think is the most talented member of Led Zeppelin?
I've seen them in concert. that kind of dates me, but.
When you were did you do theater in high school? What attracted you to stage life? What was your first like? Oh, I like this.
I have a brother who's 4 years older than me, and he's an incredible musician. And just watching his path, and just got me excited. You know, listening to him play his trombone player, listening to him play the piano, and I just wanted to learn. We were both put in piano class when we were young, and I didn't like piano class. I didn't like the instructor, and then I started in music as a bass violinist, concert bass violinist. That's how I started in music. I was, everybody does a recorder, song flute, right? And we were told that if you excelled in the recorder, that you would be placed in orchestra.
Yeah,
and it was as a 5th grader, because the orchestra was made up of 6th graders. Right?
If you could play Mary Had a Little Lamb, they're like, next year we're going to give you a trumpet.
We're going to put you in an orchestra because we need people. So there were like maybe 6 or 7 5th graders that were in 6th grade orchestra, and I thought it was the bee's knees. I thought it was great. I was like, yes.
Yeah. I want to cover this because I did not ask this earlier, and Jerome can give you a little bit of. If you guys are ready for a little bit of Jerome's testimony, man. Mr. J-Dab is singing part of your act. Thank you so much. Would you like to cover that?
Yeah, certainly.
All right.
My moniker when I started in comedy was J-Dab, the singing comedian.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had my health issue, and now that I've returned, I've dropped the singing comedian because I'm not singing anymore. And how that whole J-Dab, the singing comedian, started was I was doing my singing shows, and so often afterwards, people would say to me, "Are you going to be in the comedy room?" Say if I were on a cruise ship or something.
Right.
Are you going to be in the comedy room later on? No, I'm a singer. I've done my show here in the showroom.
Right.
I'm not going to be. So I'm thinking. So either they're starting to laugh at my singing, or so maybe.
Oh, we're sorry. We thought you were a comedy act. That's what every singer wants to hear. I'm sorry. We thought you were kidding.
I thought you. Well, it was one of those deals where, and that's why I was like, what's going on here? If everybody thinks I'm a comedian. No, it was one of those deals where, in doing a singing show, there's pattern.
Right.
And I always try to make my pattern as humorous as possible.
Oh, yeah.
Right? That was and people, and I said, you know what? Maybe I should.
Well, you have to do it anyway, just to entertain yourself. I mean, how many times do you want to hear yourself? Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Emerald Room.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us this evening for a few. I hope you guys remember this song.
I know.
After a while, you're like, I don't want to hear myself say those words ever again.
I don't. Yes.
Mr. Dabney, were you in L.A. about 2 years ago?
2 years ago, no.
Okay, so Guyver wasn't your guy. Some other Stevie Wonder.
Was it impersonator?
I think so.
Yeah.
Did Mr. Dabney have a family as well as a career?
No, I did not. I never had children. I'm with a lady now that I've been with for 18 years, and she has 3 daughters, and there's 9 grandchildren, and but I never personally had children myself. Yeah, it was a travel, and I didn't want to be away from the kids. I never wanted to be away from the kids. So,
how does it feel, Mr. Dabney, to live in a state that prides itself on collegiate athletics, being a fan of a team that isn't part of the state's collegiate heritage, and B, I think you get away with it because they are not like a direct, until basketball season, they're not a direct.
They're not a threat.
Yeah, they're not a threat.
They're not a
so
threat.
so they're like, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, wear your Jayhawk stuff. Go ahead, Boomer. They with the Go Pokes and all. Anyway, but I know you're proud of your alma mater. You were. Did you go to Kansas?
Yes, that's my alma mater.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lawrence?
Voice performance. Yeah, voice performance. Bachelor of Voice Performance, and Norman Page was my coach. I met my vocal coach at music camp after my junior year of high school, and he told me, he says, and of course that's their job, of course, to recruit students. He says, if you come here to the University of Kansas, I will be your vocal coach from the day you start to the day you graduate. And he kept his promise.
Are there singing scholarships?
Yes. and I went to KU on a scholarship.
Did they handle a pretty good chunk of it, or is it like?
I did 2 years. That was good. 2 years of schooling, you know.
As a high schooler, as someone in high school, how do you get noticed by a college? What is there like singing competition? How do you get noticed so that I assume if there's scholarships, there's scouts.
Right.
Did you get scouted?
Well,
are you like a blue chip singer, a blue chip high school singer?
Well, see, here's the deal. They have normally within each state, they have what they call an all-state choir. And these are students from schools throughout the entire state.
Right.
And states are large, and there's a lot of schools and a lot of singers. So if you get into the all-state choir, you do get noticed.
That's what brings you in front of the gatekeepers.
Exactly. You do get noticed, and it's not that they're scouting you. It's just that it gets reported by the high school.
Yeah, they don't have to follow your career like a football scout would have to attend 12 games to watch a player. No. But if we have one all-state competition a year, our scouts go out to that, see everybody in one spot.
They don't even come out to the competition. You just get put forward as being a member of the all-state choir.
See, that's
right.
Man, they'll find anything to compete at.
Remember Who's Who?
Well, I wasn't, but my sister was Who's Who in American high school among American high school students. Like, I don't know, like 2-3 years.
Yeah,
sophomore, junior, and senior. Yeah, I remember it.
Yes.
I was never Who's Who.
Yeah, so
but I remember that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You go into Who's Who, and it's like your first little mini resume. You know, it'll say, you know, Jerome Dabney, All-State Choir, Missouri, 19 mama.
See, I never got into Who's Who.
Was it the year?
I had a group that said that they were a think tank, and what they said was they wanted me to join them, and then once I got on board, if I could bring on 5 managers, then those people could bring on 5 managers each. It wasn't Who's Who, but they were legit. Assholes.
Yeah, you could pay to be in Who's Who, I think.
If I had done it over again, you know, I would have taken the advice. Somebody told me when I was 16 years old, like, this is what you should do. The day you graduate, go get a job at the post office. Work there 10 years, you're 27 years old, you're still young, you're getting a pension from the government because you've been a government employee for 10 years, and then you can go have a crap job somewhere and you still got a check coming in for the rest of your life.
That's amazing.
And I was like, no, man, I'm going to have the most exciting life ever. I'm never going to have a job at the post office. And when I was 30, I was like, I should have took that job, man, because the years passed anyway.
Right.
That time was going to pass anyway. I should have did something smart with it.
Right. Here's the trade-off, because I do that look back as well sometimes. And here's the trade-off. Here was the trade-off for me. I was born in Missouri.
Okay.
I was raised in Indianapolis. I graduated high school in Missouri. I went to the University of Kansas. After graduation, I stayed in Kansas City for a couple of years, and I went home. And so this is a landlocked life. And I had a desire to see the world. And it was just trying to figure out how I was going to do it. You know, how was I going to do that? I even had a job.
Will Caribbean pay you to see the world? That's how you do it.
well, not only the Caribbean, exactly. Not only the Caribbean, but
well
the
done,
world.
Sir. You found it.
But the world, you know. I mean, I never say this phrase because it comes across as being, you know, a boast or whatever. Yeah, it's smug or whatever. But I've been paid to see the world.
There's nothing smug about that.
You know, I would not. Somebody mentions, oh man, wouldn't you like to go back to that place? Yeah, I'd love to go back, but if I had to go back in a different way, it would be a different trip. It would be a totally different trip.
Everything would have. I probably could have changed anything before February 2nd, 2001.
Okay.
Anything before the first date I had with my wife.
Mm-hmm.
If you'd given me up till that point to say you can go back and change it, I probably would have. But the moment I met her, no.
No. No.
No.
No.
No. Everything led up to that point. I'm good.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely, man. Definitely.
Let's see. Did Mr. Dabney continue with the violin after elementary school? I think you said bass violin, didn't you?
Yeah. It was bass violin. I played bass.
That's a little
violin.
bigger than a cello, right?
Yes. It's
not quite.
upright. They call it upright in jazz.
Okay.
The upright.
So it's the full size.
It's the full size.
Right.
It's full size, and I did that from 5th grade up until 12th grade, high school graduation. After I graduated from high school, I went into college on a vocal scholarship, so bass was not going to be a part of my life anymore, and I regret it because I should have kept it.
Mojo says, Who's Who is kind of a scam. You get your name in a book that is published, then they sell you a copy of an expensive book full of names of people you don't know.
That you don't know.
It only looks good on a resume.
That's right. That's right.
I never looked at it like that. It's like, hey, we're going to put your name in this book. The book's going to cost you $50.
That's right.
Full of people's names
It's
who you don't know. And we got $50 from each of them, too.
It's so
it was
true.
awesome. The
It's-
books cost us $6 each to print.
That's
we
right.
just made $44 by nominating you for an award you'll never see.
You'll never see.
What a
Yeah.
man! I wish
yeah.
I'd thought of that.
Oh yeah, Who's Who, man? They had it going on, and you did, and it was an expensive book.
I only had good grades. I ran track in a small Christian school. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but people would ask though, "Are you in Who's Who?"
You know, yeah. And if you worked your tail off, I mean, if you were 4.0 3 years in high school, like sophomore, junior, and senior, you were in the book.
You were in the book.
Yeah, you didn't have to have. Because I hated school.
I did too.
It was I looked
Every
for any reason to be there, and I couldn't find one. And as soon as I couldn't find one, I started looking for any reason not to be there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I didn't like school.
Like I tried newspaper and yearbook. I tried athletics. I loved debate,
Right.
and I liked playing chess with a couple of guys at the school.
Right. Yeah.
But after I was like, I can't find any reason to be here. It was like I found a ton of reasons not to.
That's true.
And
After
then-
when scholarship ran out for me, I wanted to stop.
I would go in the morning,
Yeah.
and then because I was on yearbook, I had a photographer's pass. So after lunch, I just wouldn't come back. It was like, hey, where were you yesterday afternoon? You weren't in chemistry class. I was taking pictures for your book. I got a permanent pass.
Nice.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like I was at a pool hall my entire senior year from 5th hour on,
Right.
taking a different education,
There you go.
learning the hustle.
And that's it, you know. That's it. After my second year of college, I worked for Disney World, and I was like, this is what I want to do. I know I'm a voice performance major, but the operative word in that is performance. This is what I want to do. I've been hired to work in that program that summer, and I loved it. I loved the whole organization, and I said, I want to be a professional singer and work. I don't want to go back to school, but I went back anyway.
Congratulations on getting Al Roker on the show. Are you kidding me? I wouldn't have Al Roker on this show. We have nothing but class here.
See,
Unless you're there, Al. Hey, Al.
definitely after the weight loss, huh?
Al, I'm booking on February. Just saying, if you're really watching.
Tell him Gus Fring would be closer from Breaking Bad. Or Lester Holt from NBC News.
I was telling my sister that because we just come from a different generation. I miss people that did not give a crap. Used to, you could get on television. You didn't have to be pretty. You didn't have to be.
Right.
The first Ronald McDonald was a guy named Willard Scott.
Yeah.
Willard Scott was Ronald McDonald, and then after that, he was the Today Show weatherman,
That's right.
and he was bald, so he'd wear a wig. But some days he didn't feel like wearing a wig.
Right.
So some days he was bald, some days he had hair. You know
That's
why?
right.
Because he didn't care. You didn't have to be pretty to be on TV. And used to, you had to be talented to be in a movie. You had to sing, dance, and act.
That's right. The triple threat.
Just saying. Just saying.
The triple threat.
You guys want to see what talented people look like? Go watch White Christmas. Danny Kaye, Bing Crosby.
Oh yeah.
Those guys are convincing actors.
Yes.
Definitely good singers.
And
Definitely good dancers.
exactly.
And great comedic timing.
Exactly.
The 4-point stance.
Exactly. Quadruple threat.
J-Dab, I am
Yes.
listening to you, and you come across as a very selfless and kind. What were your parents like? That's a good question.
Oh.
How were you? What were the standards you were raised by?
Well, I was raised actually by my grandmother's niece. My grandmother's niece and her husband. So I've been trying to figure out the biological line. I think they would be first cousins. My grandmother's brother's daughter who raised me.
Okay.
My biological mother is still alive, but I didn't meet her until I was, I think, 7. I think I was 7 the first time I met her. And the reason why I ended up with my grandmother's niece, my grandmother was having a difficult time keeping me because of her work, and my grandmother's niece, she was more than willing and able to raise me.
Was she young at the time?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. And I just saw her a couple of weeks ago.
So she took on a lot of responsibility early on then, huh?
Yeah, she did.
When she have a lot of brothers and sisters, was that like knit into her?
Well, there were 6 of them.
Okay.
There were 6 of them, 6 kids, but all of her siblings had children, and she had failed to have children. I think a couple of miscarriages.
So you guys were just a blessing to each other.
Yeah, exactly. And
Exactly what she
she had
wanted.
adopted the gentleman I mentioned earlier, my brother.
Yeah.
We're not blood related at all, but we were raised together
It's your
because
brother.
they adopted him,
Right.
and they raised the 2 of us together. They raised the 2 of us together. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, and then I didn't have the opportunity to meet the father, hence, not ever wanted to be away from kids. I'm sure that has everything to do with why I never had a family, because, I didn't want to be away from kids. I didn't want another human being to experience not meeting a father. So
I totally get that.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
pretty. That's strong.
Yeah, so my grandmother's niece, and her husband were the big influences in my life, and they were good people, and they taught me great values, and I'm really just my grandmother more so than anything. My grandmother was just the apple of my eye, just unbelievable woman, and my comedy definitely comes from her, because she was a very, very funny woman, and didn't know it, but she was. She didn't try to be funny. She just was funny. The things that she would say, and her thoughts and everything, and
What part of Missouri?
St. Louis,
Okay.
West County, University City.
All right.
Yeah,
Well, we got a lot of family. Springfield.
yeah.
That's where my mom was from.
But the person who asked that question, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah.
It's a great question, Mr. J.
Yeah.
Were you a child prodigy? Were you a child prodigy?
No, not at all. Not at all.
I'm not gonna answer this, but I think I already know the answer. Was your grandmother a praying lady?
Definitely. Definitely. Yeah, definitely. She had one saying that I never liked. She used to always say, "Oh, take me, Jesus," and I was like, "Not yet, not yet, grandmother."
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
not yet.
Don't answer that one.
Take me, Jesus. No, please, no, not yet.
There used to be
Not
ladies
yet.
at the church that sit there in the summertime doing this all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, take me, Lord.
Take me, Jesus. And but you know what though? She wasn't like a heavy duty church goer though. She went to church,
No,
but
but
she
it was
wasn't. She has a sister who always at church, but yeah, grandmother wasn't.
Man, it's still a good set of rules to live by. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah, but she was a kind person. She was just, yeah. She was cool.
Is your grandmother the voice that you hear? That guy, like, I wouldn't say my mother talks to me. She's been gone 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
But the voice in my head that I put to things that, like, the voice I give things in my head is hers. Like, she's the guiding voice in my head. Like, I'm like, I wonder what should I do here? And I make up my mind to do it, and it's usually I put her voice to it. Is that your grandma?
It's my grandmother. It's my grandmother. A lot of my comedy, which you've probably heard, I will say things that come across as being kind of, almost teaching in a way, or my grandmother had a saying that I pattern my comedy around a lot. She used to always say, look at him, just stuck on stupid and glued to dumb. She used to say that all, and it made me laugh so hard. And so I look at life according to that proclamation: stuck on stupid and glued to dumb.
I heard the one where some people don't have common sense. That guy don't have common ignorance. I heard one this week. Paul Gilmartin, do you know who he is? Comedian Paul Gilmartin. Right now he's on Jimmy Dore's podcast a lot, and he's playing. There's a real life House of Representatives congressman from Ohio named Jim Jordan.
Right.
And Paul Gilmartin is playing this character named Ohio Congressman Richard Martin. So he's always in just he never wears a sport coat. It's just the sleeves rolled up in the tie. But he was watching footage of Nancy Pelosi this past week, and he came up with a word that was gold. He's like, is it just me, or is the only word to describe this woman is smugnerant?
Smugnerant. It's amazing. It's amazing.
It's the best word I've heard in a long time. It's like, I'm going to use it. I like smugnerant. That's pretty good.
I attached something to Nancy Pelosi just recently as well. And it was, that's a rude word, so.
Mr. J-Dab, did your grandmother influence your music taste?
No, my grandma didn't even listen to the radio in the car.
Really?
And she didn't sing, and she
Methodist?
No, she didn't. She wouldn't even turn the radio on in the car. And she liked music. There were some artists that she enjoyed, and she'd go to their concerts. But she didn't sing. You know, my mother doesn't sing. They were both tone deaf.
Where did you find the love? What was your first album? Do you remember the first thing that you spent money and bought because you wanted it that bad?
Stevie Wonder.
Was it?
Yeah.
Was it Intervisions?
Talking Book.
Okay.
Yeah. Come on. Yeah.
I've got Intervisions up there. That's my third version. That's my third copy. I've wore out 2 other ones.
Anything and everything Stevie, I love. That's why I ended up doing a tribute show, to Stevie.
You called your grandma a grandmother. What a lovely, respectful way to honor her. That's nice, Mojo.
It's funny that someone mentioned that because it's become the kind of like the family joke that I always called her grandmother. I always say grandmother, and then she'd go, grandmother.
Was it? Because you mentioned a lot of love in the family, being raised by someone who didn't have kids of their own, adopting another one. I mean, there's a lot of love in there. Was it strict as well? Was there a lot of?
Yeah. As far as the raising, yes, definitely.
But still balanced it out, like you.
Yeah. But there was still a balance, but it was the normal kind of the street light comes on, you have to be your ass home. Be at home.
Have you tried to treat people in a way that you expect to be treated, and does that work a lot for you?
It does. It does all the time.
Does it?
I think it does all the time.
Man, I must be wasting my time on the wrong folks.
Yeah, it's one.
Because what is your? Let me ask you this: what's your advice to someone who does go the extra mile to treat people how they want to be treated?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I want people to be nice to me. I'm going to be nice to everybody around me, but just constantly like you're just around the wrong group of people, man. I mean,
I just think it's kind of I don't know. It's one of those never give up kind of feelings. Every soul needs to be saved, I believe, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter
how you act. I'm still gonna be nice.
You're not going to change me. You're not going to change me. You're going to do what you do, and you're going to act the way you act. You know.
So you were already pretty solid like this. This is how you already thought.
Yeah.
When I first met you, this is Jerome.
Right. No airs, no just.
I know, but already a wise man. Already knows why he's here.
Yeah.
Did you learn anything more going through what you went through, or did you just take everything that? Was there something that you've learned?
Oh, definitely.
That's on top of. I mean, you've got a great outlook. You always have.
Yeah.
And I know the positivity probably brought you through more and more. But what did you learn while you were going through this?
To the cancer?
Yeah. Or was it just all affirmation about,
no.
Hey, I've been believing the right way because he's still, I feel him. He's right here with me while I'm going through this.
Yeah.
I mean, was it affirming or?
No, it was.
Did it teach you anything?
Yeah, what I learned through the cancer situation. We were talking about this earlier. There is a plan. There's a plan. There's a script. There's everything that's already laid out. It's just a matter of us as individuals going through it. I started doing comedy before I got my diagnosis. Years before I got my diagnosis, because the diagnosis and the treatment and everything took my singer away. So I haven't sung in almost 3 years now, and but I've still been able to keep my psyche in check by doing stand-up, because that is my drug. Being on stage, it's something I've done. My first job was, I was a singer in high school at Six Flags over Mid-America. That was my first singing job. I got a singing job.
I forgot there was a Six Flags in St. Louis.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess, and going through the whole cancer thing, the one thing that I have gotten out of it is that there needs to be, and I'm actually starting a campaign. I don't know if I told you this. I'm starting a campaign.
Okay.
It's called "And Still Surviving the Cure." That is the name of the campaign.
Still Surviving the Cure.
And Still Surviving the Cure.
Okay.
jdabsstc, right?
Okay.
And it involves a group of people that on this planet. I'll give you just a couple of statistics. I hate doing a bunch of numbers, but there's 1.7 plus million people here in the United States who were diagnosed with cancer in 2018.
Just that year?
Just that year. Just that year. About 609,000 of them did not survive. So now we're looking at 1.1 million people who were diagnosed, were treated, and are surviving. Could be 1 year, 1.5 years, But there's a whole group of people out there, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, that went through it, were treated, cancer is gone, and they're moving on. But it's the newest normal that you can imagine, that you say you're cancer free, but you're only still surviving the cure, because your new normal is completely different. A lot of people are not doing what they've done. The long-lasting effects of treatment sometimes never go away. Neuropathy, insomnia, anxiety. People. I was speaking with a lady the other day, and she said her mother had ovarian cancer, and she was treated, and she was cancer-free. 4.5 years later, she died. She died of an opiate addiction.
Oh, right.
During her treatments,
Right.
because of the pain,
Mm-hmm.
she became an addict, and no one knew. And she told me, she says, I knew my mother was different, but I didn't know why she was different. I thought it was the chemo, and it probably was. So it changes you as a person, because it's poison. There's no other way to go. It's poison.
Right.
It's poison, and it destroys a lot. So your life is, it's just not the same. It's never going to be the same. You know, it's never going to be the same. So it's still surviving the cure. I just want to bring awareness to people that have had cancer, have had treatments, and they're just still surviving the cure, because here in America, it's a lot different than other countries. Medically, you get released. You know, you're just gone.
Well,
We're done.
Right.
You know.
Well, I mean, awareness is good, but in a practical action, what do people need that you could supply to them? Like, if you were going to set up a nonprofit, like, what could you provide as far as actionable for people who are they've survived? What do they need?
I've had radiation, and I'm addicted to opiates. I need to be in a treatment program, and I don't have the money. I'm not going on Dr. Phil, and I don't have the money to get in. You know,
right.
Let's put some grants out there. You know, let's raise some money. My situation, after because I was on a feeding tube for 6 months, and not using the voice, and it's like any other muscle. You don't use it, you lose it, and so I had to learn to use the voice again, just like someone has to learn to walk again. And I was in desperate need of speech therapy. So my ENT said, listen, we got to get you some speech therapy. So I went to check on it to get it, right? And the company that they were going to provide it, they said it's going to be $125 a session.
Wow.
Now I've got a lot of medical bills that happen. You know, the entire treatment that I had ended up being right around $676,000, right? A lot of insurance paid for a lot of that, but I still have some line
No, you're all right.
that I have to pay for. So I told my ENT, I said, I've talked to the company, and they're telling me $125 a session. I can't do that. I'm unable to do that right now. You know, I'm not back to work fully. I'm not, doing any singing gigs where I would make my most money. And in comedy, we're making in comedy. So I'm
raking it in.
Raking it.
That's why I've got these beautiful blue fabric chairs, man.
We're raking. So.
I think an analogy would be the war is over, but look at the aftermath. How do we rebuild, and can it be restored?
Exactly. And people need assistance. My ENT, he got a speech therapist to gratis me some sessions so that I could start getting my voice back together. And that's what happened, And if I'm just one person that happened to, think of how many of them are out there. How many are? So
I'm real community. I'm like local and community. That's how I don't think nationally or internationally. I think of this neighborhood, and
sure,
subdivision, and all rings moving outward.
Yeah.
How many people do you think in Tulsa need this?
I think
could need support after their battle.
There's a lot. I think there's a lot, because we're getting into numbers like 1 in every 5 persons will be diagnosed with cancer. Now, it's crazy. My oncologist told me, she says, esophageal or pharyngeal, which is the kind of cancer I had, it's gonna be an epidemic by 2021. There will be so many people. But here's the deal, John. I was stage 4. My diagnosis. Getting this awareness out there. And I'm not looking to form a pity party,
right?
A poor me. I'm looking to have people that are saying, I'm cancer free, and I'm still surviving the cure,
right?
And I'm going to help you get what you need now, so you are not me later.
Is this in the works?
Yeah, it's almost a done deal. I've got some sweatshirts and some hats.
If people
some T-shirts.
Is there a way if people are interested in supporting something like this that they can reach you or?
Yeah,
it?
jdab SSTC, still surviving the cure. jdabsstc at gmail.com.
Well, we'll provide all of that in the description of the video for YouTube. So if you are, I mean, that's
and all this the sales of the sweatshirts and the T-shirts and the hats are going to go to it's called the Cancer Network Support. Cancer Network Support is the group that I'm going to, because I've spoken with the American Cancer Society, and their focus is donations to get better cures, research, providing transportation for people in treatments and this and another. And the gentleman, he even told me on the phone, he says, we really don't do, I know you want to donate money to that effort, but that effort is not the biggest driving force that we have here.
Until they start doing clinical tests for alternative options to chemotherapy.
Right.
I don't really. There's not a lot of research foundations I give to.
Right.
Because it's like, well, I know there's research being done already.
That's right.
And I know it's been buried.
Exactly.
Because of the patent holders for chemo and radiation.
Exactly.
So I know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
our mom going through it was kind of a. That was the first time someone looked at me, and it was too late. She'd already gone. But I mean, someone told me, well, cancer is, it's a serious business, and they emphasized the word business. And I was like, what'd you say? He said, cancer's a serious business, and I'm like, why would you say that to me?
Yes.
And then I started looking, and I was like, wait a minute, why don't other countries have cancer research? Wait, they're curing it in other countries?
Right. Right, and they don't, and you know what? I am going to be the enemy, and still surviving the cure is going to be the enemy, because they don't want people to know that. They don't want people to know that you're struggling. They have these survivor parties and survivorship. They call it survivorship. Congratulations on your survivorship. Congratulate me when I can go get speech therapy.
Yeah.
And it cost me $125 when I desperately needed to get back to doing what I do to make a living, because the psychological effect is going to be what it's going to be, and let's add insult to injury and make you have to pay an enormous amount of money to, and my goal was to, you enter into, when you're not using any muscle, you enter into it never returning.
Right.
There's a possibility. I'm not going to be on a stoma or anything like that, but I'm going to be a non-verbal person.
But non-use of a muscle, it's going to atrophy.
After a while, you're going to turn into it. So, and still surviving the cure is going to bring awareness to the people that have had treatments and are doing that. They're doing that. That's exactly what they're doing. They're doing it, and getting it out there so that other people don't have to. I
have compassion. I'm extremely sorry for people that have to go through cancer treatment in the year 2019 and they're still using methods from 1983. I'm extremely, but I'm more supportive of what. Well, I mean, they did have to go through that. What do we do for them now? instead of just sitting there and staring at the issue of, oh yeah, it's a problem, this treatment. Okay. Moving forward, what do we do for them now?
Absolutely,
you know, let's
there's no
quit.
money.
There's
no money in that.
Quit looking at that.
There's no money in that.
Right.
You know.
But it's necessary. I mean,
you know the percentage that they give you.
Geiger lost his first wife to cancer.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, he was
yeah.
Yeah.
You know the percentage they give you. They sit you down and they say, here, this is the deal. This is what you have. This is the treatment plan, and this is the percentage of your survival.
The survival rate for people in your situation.
Right?
Yeah.
That percentage that they give you, I am convinced that percentage that they give you is based on the percentage of people that have survived the kind of cancer and treatment plan that you're getting ready to go through. It has nothing to do with you as a person.
Do you think your fitness level in any way helped you as well? I mean, I know your mental game was probably pretty strong, but I mean,
I went in such good shape.
You tennis, right?
Yeah, tennis and an older black person, no high blood pressure, no diabetes. I went in so blessed. When you're compromised and you have to go into that situation, it brings that percentage way down. It brings it way down into the 30s and 40s. You know, it just does.
We are going to put that. We're going to put that that email. It's jdabsstc@gmail.com. We're going to put that in the description of the video when it goes on YouTube. If you would like to just link up with that and support in any way, buying a t-shirt or just, offering, hey, why have you thought about this? Maybe you have an idea. Because like he said, it's not just that 1 in 5 people are having cancer. It's basically 1 out of 1 now person deals with it because they know someone who has it.
Right. If they want to leave...
I mean, everybody's being touched by cancer by this point.
Right. I'm looking for crusaders to join as well. People that want to leave a testimony, a testimonial to say, hey, I had cancer, I had treatment, and this is how my life changed, and this is what I'm doing about it.
Do you still need help or in organizing at all, or like setting up a web page if people have talents that they would like to donate to this cause?
Yeah, I've got someone who's doing setup and everything. Yeah.
Because it's not always just, hey, you're doing a good job. Sometimes if you have a skill or a suggestion or an idea,
definitely.
All
welcome.
This email address, this is a ground floor kind of thing. I mean, so just so you know, I was very impressed with Mr. Dabney's diction and vocal quality. I assumed his cancer was pancreatic or prostate based solely on what I think his age could be. Oh, they weren't even thinking that the cancer was here because you're...
the 5 centimeter mass tumor was at the base of my tongue. It was stage 4, metastasized into the lymph nodes under my jawline and the sides of my neck and into the right nostril. It was everywhere. And also another thing about the whole stage 4 thing, there's a lot of people hear stage 4. What stage 4 means is that you have cancer in more than one area. That's all it means.
Oh.
That's all.
See, I thought stage 4 meant it was like coming to the main stage. But right. I thought the cancer was like, maybe a little heavy.
Yeah.
Maybe has tattoos in the wrong place. They put her off on the stage 4.
Yeah, you can stage 1, 2, and 3 in one area.
Really?
But once you go to stage 4, that means it is affecting another area. When it's head and neck cancer, because so many vitals are so close together, tonsils, esophageal, vocal, everything's all close together right in there. The nostril, the nasal cavity, the ear area, the lymph nodes, everything's so close together. Most head and neck cancers are a stage 4 diagnosis. Most, not all, but a lot of them are. And the trick with it, and why a lot of people succumb to head and neck cancer, I think more so, to get rid of it, And it depends on the kind of cancer it is as well, because there's two different types of cancers that you can have when it involves head and neck. The treatments for head and neck are so aggressive. They are so aggressive.
And like Mojo said, the brain isn't too far away.
And that's it. And the normal pattern for cancer is to grow up. So when you get a lower body cancer diagnosis, you're going to be concerned about going up. When it's already at the brain, then they start checking for lower, because they think that it probably came from lower and worked its way up. You know, yeah. And my right nostril cancer, in the right nostril where the cancer was, they did I believe it was 100 millimeter slice of the cancerous area to make sure that it wasn't involving my brain stem, because in that area, and you know, thank God it wasn't, you know. And then also in the right nostril, there was concern about the radiation being involved with the optic nerve and me losing sight in the right eye as well. So, but none of that happened. I had top oncologist, Dr. Diane Heaton. She's the lead oncologist at CyberKnife here in Tulsa, and I just had some incredible physicians taking care of me. You know, from ear, nose, and throat to oncology.
But as soon as you were past it, and they're like, okay, cancer's gone, then you realize, well, the service is lacking, and you wish there had been someone like what you're setting up now.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
To help you on the back end.
Yeah, exactly. The cancer network, the cancer support network, is going to be the entity that I'm going to make sure funds get to, because there are support groups for people that have had treatment or are still surviving the cure, and I want them to have more things available to them. I want the resources to be more available to those people, because we've got a lot of people, 100 million people, 100 million diagnoses in 2018 worldwide. 100 million diagnoses worldwide. You know.
100 millimeter, roughly 4 inches for those in the past. No. First of all, if you use standard measurement, it doesn't mean that you live in the past. I'm sorry we don't all speak Catholic. Good Lord. 100 millimeters equals 4. Is that true? Was it a 4-inch mass?
The five. It was a 5 centimeter.
Oh, 5 centimeter.
5 centimeter mass
50,
tumor,
which would be 50 millimeters.
Hey,
so it'd be like 2 inches.
Yeah, it was a large tumor.
This is a bizarre question, but did you sleep in a recliner while you were being treated?
I did most of the time. Most of the time I did.
I know why you asked that.
I sure did.
Huh.
I sure did, and I still need to be elevated as well. I still need to have elevation at night when I sleep. So.
Just prop your neck up, or like sitting up?
No, you prop neck up. You know, but
have you ever thought? Because I remember being a kid, getting my tonsils out, and I thought, man, if I ever, when I'm grown up, I want to bet just like this. Because when you were in the hospital, like feet are up and all that.
Oh yeah. Definitely.
Did you think about getting one?
I'm going to get one.
Are you with the?
Definitely. Yeah. Silly Posturpedic.
Is it?
Yeah. Yeah, you can get them. You can get them moving. Yes.
Thank you. I want to talk about the recliner later, Dub. Don't let me forget. Okay. Mojo's my sister.
Oh, cool.
She's our number one fan.
Oh, very, very cool. Hi, Mojo. Hi.
But
she here in Tulsa?
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful.
Our mom slept in a recliner while she was going through her stuff. I don't know what I know why she asked, but I don't know why that is. Mojo is the talented sibling. Yes, Guyver. Oh. You're a remarkable person, and you're one of the people that I've enjoyed having the opportunity of working around, even though I'm not as classy. That being said. People know I'm not classy. No, I'm not.
Not true.
You know, I've never aspired to be a room of 100. I'm great. I love it. I love a tight room. I don't want to be in a theater, or
Right.
I don't want to do a show at the Brady. I don't want to do a show at the Canes.
Hey,
Rosie.
hi, Rosie. Rosie came to say hi.
Yeah, she always does. But hello, Mr. Dabney. I would love to meet with you sometime. I want to help. Okay.
Excellent.
They want to. Mojo wants to help with your.
We'll make an arrangement. We'll make arrangement through you.
Well, she can contact you via your email. I mean,
Yes.
she's the one that typed it in there so people can see. That's jdabsstc@gmail.com. If you are interested in helping people's lives after their treatment, after they're cancer free, and the doctors and medical staff are like, "Well, you did it.
Yeah.
Bye."
Ring your bell.
Yeah, after that, and there's no one to. Jerome is setting up an organization to bring awareness to people after their treatment, and if you'd like to help, that is the email. We'll put it in the description of the video. It's jdabsstc@gmail.com, and you can help out. I can't tell you what an honor this is. I mean, really. Respect. Oh,
My pleasure. Man.
I mean,
my
honestly.
pleasure. When you asked me about this, I was overjoyed. So it's a pleasure for me to be here.
I mean, we get a lot of people. There's tons of people that come on, and we're all comedians, but some of us haven't done it. Some of us haven't traveled with it. We're all comedians in this town,
Right.
but it's good having a professional point of view. Unknown Dog, thank you for being here. Guyver, thank you for being here. Mojo, this has been life-changing. Thank you for your time. Thank you for being here, Mojo. Guyver, let's see who else was in here. Raptor. Unknown Dog. Okay, for those of you that are still here, there is no Bedgood Comics tonight. Peter wasn't going to get off work till about 9 p.m. And then he was going to rush over here, which means it would start till 10, which is 2 hours after I told you it would start. So instead, we're going to be running Man in the Attic next week, and Peter will be back next week. So when this show concludes, I'll be back and we'll be doing something. Probably flying. Anybody want to play War Thunder tonight? We'll do that. That's coming up next. Jerome.
Thank you, John. Thank you so much.
I'm so happy that you're here.
Oh, man. And thank you, listeners, too. Thank you, viewers and listeners. Thank you.
Give us time to reset.